Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, Gardening in Cold Spring Harbor. I hope everyone is staying safe and warm. Bay leaf, otherwise known as bay laurel. Did you know that you can grow your own? Bay leaf or bay laurel is a commonly used ingredient in our home kitchens. We use bay leaf to season our soups, stews, rice, among many other things. But paying for bay leaf at a local grocery store or supermarket can get quite costly. So why not grow your own? In today's video, I'm going to give you very easy, step-by-step proven gardening instructions on how you can grow your own beautiful bay leaf at home, as well as how you can easily propagate bay leaf so you can have an endless, abundant supply of aromatic, fresh bay leaves in your own home all year long. So for those of you looking for that online gardening channel, which offers tips, tricks, easy, yet proven gardening advice to take your home garden to that next level, don't go anywhere, guys. Stick around with me today. Start with going below this video and clicking the subscribe button if you are enjoying the content of my videos and find my gardening videos to be useful, helpful, informative in absolutely any way. Don't forget to click the bell icon as well. YouTube will send you notifications every single time I'll upload a new gardening video. Now let's get gardening. Bay laurel is the plant that's responsible for all the delicious bay leaves that we use in our home cooking. Not only is the bay leaf plant super easy to grow, it is delicious, it is aromatic, and by growing it yourself in your own home, you're going to save yourself so much money. You'll never ever have to buy another bay leaf container at your local supermarket again. So let's dive right in, because I know that after today's video, all of you are going to want to try and grow your own bay leaf at home. Bay leaf plant can be grown either inside or outside, depending in which gardening zone you live. If you live in zones 8 and above, you can easily grow your own bay leaf plant outside all year round, directly in the soil of your home garden, or even a pot or a container if you choose to do so. You never ever have to bring it inside or protect it from the freezing temperatures. For those of us living in zones 7, like I do here in Long Island, New York, zone 7A or below, we do need to bring our bay leaf plant inside indoors when nighttime temperatures will dip below 50 degrees, which is why I grow my bay leaf plants in a pot or a container. And I do have multiple bay leaf plants growing in my home. Every time cooler temperatures approach, I move my container inside, indoors, into my green room. Once spring arrives and nighttime temperatures go above 50 degrees, I bring it right back out into my backyard home garden. Bay leaf in nature grows in arid climates, very much like our Mediterranean climates. So we would treat a bay leaf plant or a tree very much like we would treat our avocado tree or Mediterranean herbs or even cacti. So in nature, bay leaf grows in very arid-like climates with high warm temperatures. If anything, it prefers very hot temperatures, ideally between 85 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. In nature, bay leaf grows in areas that do not receive much rainfall at all. So bay leaf is very prone to root rot. Unlike many plants house plants or crops which you worry so much about when you're trying to go on a vacation or even a weekend getaway, and we worry what's going to happen to our plants if we're not around there to water them. Bay leaf or bay laurel is one of those plants that would prefer for you to go away and leave it alone. In fact, the less watering you'll give this plant, the happier it will be. As I said in the beginning of this video, bay leaf plant is one of the easiest plants to grow. In fact, it's one of the top 2 easiest plants to grow, period. The hardest thing about bay leaf or bay laurel plant is not the care, it's not the maintenance, it's not the watering even. It's finding a bay leaf transplant. If you're lucky enough to go to your local garden center or nursery and to find a ready bay leaf transplant in one of those little 1x1 containers, then you guys are pretty lucky, because it is rare to find one locally sold at a garden center or a nursery, which is why later in today's video, I'm going to give you very easy, quick, yet proven instructions on how you can propagate your own bay leaf at home, so you can have multiple bay leaf plants growing in your home garden. Going back to what I just said about where bay leaf grows in nature, it grows in arid climates, very much like Mediterranean climates. Ideally, bay leaf plant or bay leaf shrub needs no less than 5 hours of direct, bright sunlight. If you are planting and growing your bay leaf outside, say you live in zones 8 and above, make sure that that location receives 6 to 8 hours of sunlight per day. If you are living in very hot, humid gardening zones, ideal location would be the location which receives direct bright morning sight and afternoon shade. If you are growing your bay leaf or bay laurel plant inside in a pot or a container, make sure you keep it as close to a direct, bright sunlight window, ideally south-facing window. The temperatures in the room or in a location where you're growing your bay leaf plant should never, ever go below 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Ideal temperatures are between 80 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So yes, this plant will need lots of sunlight and very warm temperatures. If you are growing your bay leaf plant outside, make sure that the soil is very well draining, because again, this plant will not tolerate wet roots as it is prone to root rot. If you are growing your plant like I do in a pot or container, and this is a basic recyclable old container which I have laying in my shed, make sure that the container will have plenty of drainage holes, and make sure that the soil that you're using is very well draining. If you are making your own soil, I recommend using a 1-to-1 sand and potting mix ratio. How often should you water your bay leaf plant? I water my bay leaf plants as little as once per month, especially during the cooler months, so fall, spring, and winter seasons. In the summer, I water them more frequently, about twice per month. But that is it. If you water them more frequently, you are going to overwater them, potentially causing root rot. Bay leaves, they're absolutely gorgeous. They make beautiful landscaping shrubs as well. When grown outside, they can grow very tall and very wide. So spacing is also a very important consideration. The beautiful dark green, deep green leaf foliage, which stays evergreen all year long, is absolutely stunning. And and the fragrance is out of this world. So how can you tell if your bay leaf plant is lacking watering, is deprived of watering? Actually, very easy. All you have to do is come up to your bay leaf plant and touch the green leaves. There should be always firm and almost stiff-like to the touch. And you could see how when they get plenty of water, they perk up. They face upward. When your plant is lacking water, when it needs to be watered, you are going to see that the leaves are not only not as stiff and not as firm, you're going to see that they're going to start drooping downward. You're going to see the direction of the foliage change from upward to downward. If you see those two signs, the stiffness changes and the direction of the foliage changes, you will know that your plant is asking you to water it once again. For those of you, my fellow home gardeners, who will be growing bay leaf or bay laurel plant outside in the soil of your home garden, make sure you give them plenty of spacing, at least 5 to 10 feet of spacing between each of the plants. If you are growing them in a form of a privacy shrub, which by the way, they're excellent form of a privacy shrub, then you should space them closer together, anywhere between 3 to 5 feet in spacing. When it comes to pruning, bay leaf plants don't mind pruning at all. In fact, they love it. You can prune your bay leaf or bay laurel plant as tall and as wide as you want it to be. And it's gonna grow to be taller and bushier. The more you prune, the more growth you're going to get. I just wanted to give you an example right over here. You could see that I pruned a leaf right over here, and you could see that a new stem started to grow right from the side. I pruned another leaf for consumption right on the bottom here, and a whole new branch started to grow, and you could see the difference in the coloring of the leaves. The new branches, the new stems, and new leaves are much brighter green in color compared to our older, deep green leaves. Now, once your plant is established, once it's at least 2 years old, bay leaf plants can even tolerate light frost. Some of the leaves might die back. Some of your leaves might turn brown coloring. But you know what? Once spring season comes, once the temperatures start to warm up, you can prune off any damaged or impacted foliage, and you're going to see new growth. Going back to pruning and cutting off the stems or the leaves, when is the best time to prune your bay leaf plant or bay laurel plant? Early spring, before active growth of your plant. When your plant is still dormant, yet the temperatures are starting to slowly come up. Early spring is the best time to prune our plant. Next question many of you might have is, what about pests? What about disease? What should we worry about when growing a bay leaf plant in your own home garden? From what I've saw with my own experience, with my own eyes, all the articles that I've read about growing bay leaf, everything that I've looked up in the past, there are no pests or disease associated with growing bay leaf in your own home, which is another reason why this plant is such an easy plant to grow. We spoke about growing, we spoke about sunlight, watering, care and maintenance tips. Now, many of you might be asking, what about fertilizing? Do you need to fertilize? Yes, you can fertilize. It's not necessary whatsoever. But if you want that bigger, more lusher growth, you can fertilize with a regular all-purpose fertilizer. Which fertilizer? Up to you, my fellow home gardener. Just make sure that it's properly balanced, that you have the proper balancing of the N to P to K ratio. Now, how do you harvest bay leaves? It's super, super easy. You should always choose the larger leaves, the darker, greener color leaves, as those larger, darker, greener leaves will always have more bold, intense flavor. If you are growing your bay leaf plants outside in your home garden, I do recommend that you wait at least 2 years before you start harvesting. Let that plant grow. Once you harvest those leaves, all you have to do is dry them. You can dry them on your kitchen counter, you can dry them on your windowsill, or you can even make a beautiful wreath with them and hang that on your kitchen counter to dry. That is all there is to harvesting. Now, I'm going to show you step by step how I propagate and grow my own bay leaf in my home from a basic bay leaf cutting. So when is the best time to plant our bay leaf plant? The best time to plant is either in the spring or early fall. Why those 2 times out of the entire year? Because you want your plant to be able to adjust to those hot summer temperatures or those cold winter temperatures as well. So by planting it in early spring, you're going to give your plant enough time to be able to root up, get established before those hot summer temperatures come. And if you plant it in the fall, early fall, you're also giving your bay plant enough time to get established before those cold winter temperatures come. Now, if you are deciding to plant it in a container instead of in the ground, one very important tip I want to share with you guys is that the container which you choose should be able to fit at least 1.5 cubic feet of soil in it. You never want to plant it in a very small, tight container. Also, bay leaf plant is a slow growing plant. Hence, if you plant it in a pot or a container, there's absolutely no reason to repot it for at least the next 5 years. Now, last but definitely not least, is I want to show you how you can propagate your own bay leaf plant. It is super easy and super rewarding. So let's get started. Here is actually a plant which I grew from a cutting myself. It took about a year from this plant to get from a small, tiny little cutting, which was in 1x1 small cell container, to this beauty right over here. And you could see once again that all these new branches and all these new leaves are actively growing. So how do I propagate bay leaf? Let me show you. You are going to need scissors, clean scissors or clean pruning shears. You're going to need a small pot or a container of any sort. Of course, you're going to need a well-draining, moist soil potting mix right over here, which is I already have inside. And I always like to use a saucer or a bowl underneath. Because again, when you're watering, you want all the water to freely run out, right out of your container, leaving your soil to be lightly damp, but never too wet. So here is our plant. We're going to locate a branch and we're going to cut that branch off right to the main stem, right over here. We're going to use our scissors or pruning shears and we're going to make this cut like this. Each leaf, each remaining leaf, you're going to cut at an angle like so. And you're going to do this with every single one of your leaves, like this. Again, you take the leaf at an angle. What do you do with this now? All that's left to do is choose a small container, pot or a container. This is a 3-inch container. Again, you fill it up with well-draining potting mix. You moisten the potting mix and you place the stem with your trimmed leaves on top right into this soil, into this potting mix. And you let it be. You place this in a very well lit, bright sun location. I recommend placing it very close to a south-facing window. And you leave it alone. Within a few weeks, you're going to see your cuttings start to shoot out roots. And what else are you going to see? You're going to see new leaf growth, baby bay leaf growth coming right out of the stem. Once you will see that new foliage growth, it's time to transplant your new bay leaf plant into a larger pot or a container. I recommend that you make multiple cuttings like these. Why? Because no one can ever guarantee that absolutely every cutting that you'll make will start to take roots and start to shoot out new growth. Majority will, but some won't, which is why I always make multiple cuttings. So this way I will ensure that I will definitely have successful bay leaf growth. This is it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here in my home in Long Island, New York, Zone 7A. In today's video, we spoke about how you can grow your own bay leaf or bay laurel in your home and your home garden. I also gave you very easy, very clear, step-by-step instructions how you can propagate your own bay leaf in your home as well, so you can have an endless, abundant supply of fragrant, delicious bay leaf all year long. So for those of you who enjoyed the content of today's video, if you found today's video to be useful, helpful, informative, in absolutely any way, show me that support by clicking thumbs up below. Leave your comments in the comment section as well. Let me know, do you grow your own bay leaf or bay laurel in your home? If so, share some pictures with me. I love talking to all of you, my fellow home gardeners. I read each and every single one of your comments and personally respond to each and every single one of you. Stay healthy, happy, be well, each and every single one of you. And as I always like to say at the end of every single one of my videos, happy gardening, my fellow home gardeners, and I'll see you again in my new upcoming garden videos. Bye, guys.